How do high does USD JPY get before it's a real issue? It's already a real issue. There isn't even any ES resistance here. Just push up. Jesus Christ. Push. Fuck, bulls are worthless. They blew all of their money on in the money calls, and now they can't buy anything out of the money. How much more are they gonna fucking push this? Like, they're not even doing anything. They're just like trying to push vol down for what? To what end? It's not gonna stay down. May 1990 levels on USD JPY is pretty crazy. Yeah, no, the 5 minute doesn't look like bulls are out of juice. The bulls have been out of juice all day, but we're still climbing. Did bulls learn a new trick? No. Day to day, the financial markets were made into a TV show. What genre would it be? Soap opera. NQ to 20,000 end of day. Not at this rate. It's like the worst breakout in the world. It was $20 over the course of an entire hour on NQ. Holy shit. 2 lower lows in a row. Doric, the market's breaking. Don't tease us. It's okay. The dips have been completely bought. Look at all of this, and VIX is only down 2%. I wonder if NVIDIA actually fails here. It's got an awful lot of support. Look at that dip buy. God damn. Engage dip buying machine. Yeah. Wow, so shocking. I mean, that was impressive. That was a big sell-off, and they just ate the whole thing up. Dip buying opportunities like that are rare. Bulls do a Magic Johnson, no look pass across the court, and run away with the price. That was a hell of a bear trap. Basket of deplorables. Is that how they get all the bears to buy their sold puts? Then they buy more calls to pump it? No. Maybe, I mean, like on the MM side, yeah, but not. Last 2 Fridays we had afternoon downs, no? Yeah, I think so. The last several Fridays have ended down. The back half of the weeks for the last few weeks have been pretty bearish. Is there any positioning further out next week? Or does that even matter with zero DTs? There's actually not a lot of longer dated positioning. Probably there's like some volume today, but we have to see what sticks around at the end of the day. Is volume extra low today? It's not great. Maybe we're getting another turnaround here. Be a lower high. That'd be nice. Still pretty strong. Well supported. We're getting a little bit of a drop in delta, which is some selling. Any weekend geopolitical risk on the calendar? No, I mean, usually that stuff's kind of surprise. I mean, it's only lately that people have been telegraphing all of their warlike activities weeks in advance. Those two JPY just go parabolic for the next month now. I mean, they've got to be reaching like a ratio on leverage that's too high. I mean, it's gonna no, because it's gonna have detrimental effects to financial conditions as they keep levering it up. That's why I think it's stupid that they're like pushing down so hard on vol, because the demand for vol, like the second they stop shorting it, the demand for vol is just going to skyrocket again. So it's really like an effort in futility. Detrimental effects on financial conditions. I mean, financial conditions are already markedly tighter than they were even the last time we were trading at this range, right? Yields are way up. Dollars still above 106. Gold's holding 350. Oil's back up again. Credit spreads are tighter. Like, they're just equities. You can't just short vol on SPX, right? And expect that to change the entire dynamics of the market. And that's what they're doing. I mean, effectively. They're like, it's okay. Fuck the bond market. Fuck swaps. Forget the quadrillion other dollars and derivatives. We're just going to short VIX. We got this, boys. Let's go. I mean, you can to a point, but we're past that point, right? Like, we're past the point where that's an effective solution. because long-term inflation expectations aren't changing, right? We're pricing in even fewer rate cuts today than we were 3 days ago. By next week, we're probably not going to be pricing any in. So what are they doing, right? They capitalized on some put capitulation, and they quadrupled down on their short puts, and we're not going anywhere, right? If they'd done this shit back in January, we'd already be at 5,400. The conditions are not the same. They don't support this. We're going up into nothing. There's nothing above us. There's no call. They can't afford to buy them. They had to buy calls in the money to get us here. They can't afford to buy anything out of the money. They're selling vol on both sides just to get vol down low enough. Like, if delta neutral and gamma neutral are divergent on the SPX. Gamma neutral and gamma max are going like this, and delta neutral's going like that. Magic number go up. You're just blind to the truth. I didn't say we're dumping into close. We're not dumping unless we break below 5,100. There's no dumpies. This is all supported by the MM. You don't understand, Gherk. Google made money last quarter. Less money than they used to make. Why can't bulls just buy puts and let it drop? Because they already sold all the puts, and if they buy them back, they'll crash the fucking market. This isn't a new normal. Don't let that... That's what the bulls want you to think, right? They want you to think this is a new normal. It's not. Right? When you see that shit on the chart, right? The fucking sentiment chart, right? Where it's like, woo, peak elation, and then it falls. And that's the bull trap, right? And then everyone's like, oh, this is a new normal. Everything's fine. This is not a new normal. This 5% drop that we just had, everything changed. In 2 days, they spiked Vega exposure on the SPX to all-time highs from 6-month lows. Those puts are barely in the money right now. They spent all of that credit buying in the money calls to keep the market from falling back into the puts they sold. And now they can't buy anything else out of the money. Like, look at this. Look at the options chain. Hold on. Here. So remember back in like Jan when there's big fat stacks of calls out of the money at every $25 increment? This is what we have now. This is all the calls they could muster. 5,200 is stacked with sold calls. There's nothing. It's not stacked. Goddamn son of a bitch. None of this is stacked. This is garbage. Here, look at the 5-day OI change, and you'll see what I'm talking about. This is better because it's more representative of like the actual. Hold on, that's the wrong one. This is more representative of like where the positioning is moving, right? There. See the bot calls? They're all in the money already. There's no call buying out of the money. None. Nobody's gonna buy a single call until the Fed says they're cutting rates. And then they can only buy calls until the Fed cuts rates. Because once the Fed cuts rates, they're gonna crash the market. And all the banks. What? Those are just sold calls. They're just selling the out of the money calls. They're short strangling the market to push vol down, right? Because vol started spiraling out of control. So when the yield on vol, like the forward convexity yield on volatility, moves positive, it generates demand for volatility, which increases the value of forward volatility exponentially, right? Does that make sense? So once people start buying it, not knowing what it is, they can never stop. And so they crushed vol to try to stop people from longing vol. But it's like temporary, right? You can't because when you short vol, you have diminishing returns. Joke's on them. I bought more vol. I mean, that's probably what they're trying to do here, realistically, right? Is pump this up and de-risk all their short vol. How do you get tall vol? Stacked Gherk, stacked. Please don't crash the market. I'm sorry, Popcorn. It's out of my control. It's not irrational. It's perfectly rational. It's just not what people think it is, right? So think about this. Right now, they are actively leveraging up the carry trade in order to compensate for the compression that is occurring in their credit spreads, right? So they're losing margin and leverage value because yields are going up and dollars going up. And to offset that, they have shorted the living out of the yen, right? To levels it literally hasn't been at since like 1990. And they're leveraging that up directly to short the forward yield of volatility. Look, you can only leverage this up so much, right? There's leverage ratios, and they're going to cap out. And then when they cap those ratios out, there's nowhere for it to go but down. If anybody cuts rates or Japan raises rates, this all just blows up. It blows up and at 9x leverage. So for like every 12 cents they lose a whole dollar. It's all they f***ed it all up. They're going to do everything they can over the next like 6 months to keep this from blowing up in their faces. And they're probably just going to fail. They can't issue any more money because our debt will get downgraded. Same effect. They can't cut rates because our debt will get downgraded. Same effect, right? There's no winning scenario here. They can't raise rates because the banks can't manage it, right? All their assets at risk blow up when the 10-year goes above 5%. Who pays for the losses when it blows up, Gherk? Capital gains tax increase? I mean, those are the people that should pay for it, right? The $1 million a year plus earners who caused this should not nobody else should pay for it. The poor shouldn't pay for it. F the rich people. I have money and I'm saying this. F them. They have way too much money. I don't even know what to do with the money I have, and I don't even have that much. I just buy shit with it, and I'm like, oh, maybe this will go up. The anarchist in me wants to see this go tits up. Me too. Me too. So 3 months from now, if the market's at like 5,200 and they're like, oh, everything's great, it's okay, you can move your 401k back into equities. Nah. This is way worse than 08. 08 was like a few participants and predatory lending and, the mispackaging of some derivatives. This is everyone bit into the free money this time, right? They all came and drank from the free money fountain as the Fed just shot it all over their greedy little faces. This is just mispricing of the entire global financial market. Alt theory, what if we stop spending so much money? Too late, already spent it. Stop spending money and it all dies, right? Growth, gone. Recession. Maybe depression. All those Nvidia's 10x forward earnings wiped out. I missed you. Sounds like in time I was gone. Papa Powell cornered himself into crashing the economy, and bulls are still dumb. Yeah, pretty much. What's up, Big Dildanianaire? How you doing, man? Yeah. J-Powell f***ed up by not raising rates when he needed to, and letting inflation run wild. You guys know if we still used the old model for inflation, we'd be at like 20% right now. Like the 1980s model. 40? Yeah, it's higher since I last looked, but... Oh yeah, and don't forget, yesterday we just found out that all of that government spending that's been fueling our growth has stopped fueling growth and is now just fueling more inflation. So we've entered a debt spiral, and Yellen immediately panicked and said they were going to revise the GDP numbers. It's okay, we can issue more debt and we'll just keep this party going, right? Moody's, Fitch, S&P, they'll never downgrade us because we're the best. Are you going to stick around to guide us through this? I don't know. Maybe. We're all completely but who do we invade? That would actually save it. Biden's got 200 predator drones that say U.S. debt won't get downgraded. That's not how that works. They're not like independent countries. They're just corporations. Can this please drop precipitously the next couple of days? It would be a great birthday present for me. We'll see. I mean, the goal here is to get it back to stability before the FOMC meeting, right? Get vol down, get the market back to stability. And then if the Fed makes a decision which benefits the bullish scenario, which would be that at some point in the future they promise to cut rates, hint, it's never happening, then they can get other people to come in and go long, right? CTAs are still net short in all conditions. So, we need to get back above that 5,200 level. And then they could stabilize things and continue to de-risk all their underwater assets for a few more months until it gets up again and financial conditions start to tighten, right? And that cycle will continue and get worse and worse every time until something breaks. We're pretty close to something breaking this time already. And they're far from out of the hole that was created by the correction we just had. They're not safe here. This isn't, they haven't reached a point of safety where things are stabilized. They're just massively more over short vol than they were a few days ago, and the price is only up a little bit.